Greetings, everyone. This evening, we embark on a journey back to a time when our early human ancestors were not engaged in philosophical debates. In the midst of their discussion, they pondered the meaning behind the rustling in the grass was. It a promise of nourishment, a harbinger of peril, or perhaps a blend of both? Before you settle in, I invite you to take a moment to show your appreciation by liking the video and subscribing. But only if my storytelling resonates with you. Share with me in the comments your location and the time on your clock. It's truly captivating to witness the diverse souls gathering from every corner of the globe. Now, let us lower the lights, perhaps activate a fan to create a gentle background hum, and prepare to embark on tonight's adventure together. In a world 4.7 million years ago, the dawn of a new day brought with it a thrill that went beyond mere relief of being alive. It was a remarkable occurrence that deserved a grand celebration. Your eyes remained closed, untouched by thoughts of breakfast or the gentle allure of morning stretches. As you opened your eyes, a thought crossed your mind. I'm still here, and no one has taken a bite out of me yet. In a realm untouched by the familiar, there existed neither homes, nor the comforting click of locked doors, nor the alerting barks of guard dogs heralding the approach of danger. Should fortune smile upon you, you might find yourself nestled in the embrace of a tree, cradled between two sturdy branches, clinging to the faint hope that the hungry eyes of predators would seek their sustenance elsewhere, away from the splinters of your refuge. On those less fortunate mornings, the day would break with the chill of the open ground beneath, where only a handful of leaves or a humble mound of dirt served as a makeshift bed. The notion of privacy, a fleeting whisper in the winds of time, never truly taking root. In the heart of the night, your tightened circle, along with a few wandering souls from nearby bands, nestled together, seeking warmth and security. In each other's presence, in this scenario, turning over might bring you eye to eye with your cousin, a thumb-sized beetle, or the unmistakable remnants of last night's berries that had not sat well with someone. Your initial action was to lend an ear. The forest and grasslands thrummed with life, where every sound whispered a tale of its own. The arrival of birds signaled the dawn and hinted at the promise of a morning meal. Insects were your lifeline, a reminder that survival was still possible. Amidst the chill of despair and the sound of heavy footsteps echoing through the underbrush, those indicated that you ought to be well on your way up the closest tree. Rising from the depths of slumber was a bold endeavor. The mysteries of the night unfolded quietly, weaving tales beyond your dreams as you rested. In the vicinity, a lion prowled, a python basked in the warmth of the sun, and a fresh pile of droppings hinted at the recent presence of something substantial. Once you had confirmed your safety from being devoured, your eyes began to search for your companions. Remaining united was your safeguard. Solitary travelers existed like a fish barely kissed by the flame, their time fleeting and fragile, in a world devoid of reflective surfaces. One might ponder the significance of such an absence, yet even if a mirror had existed, it would have offered no solace or clarity. Your hair tangled with leaves, your skin marked by streaks of dirt, and your only adornment was the remnants of pollen or berry juice you had playfully applied the day before. Yet there you were, drawing in each breath. The sun had risen, marking the completion of the day's initial and most vital endeavor, simply being. The remainder of the day loomed with challenges, as the quest for water, food, shelter became paramount before the shadows of nightfall crept in. In this fleeting, cherished instant, you could revel in the serene, uncomplicated delight of simply being alive. As the dawn broke, the first triumph of the day was simply to awaken, and the quest for breakfast became the next chapter in the unfolding tale, and this one demanded a touch more than mere fortune. In the ancient realm, the dawn meal arrived without the trappings of menus, culinary guides, or the constraints of expiration dates. It arrived in three indistinct classifications: flora, fauna, and those intriguing items you wished were safe to savor. The first light of dawn would reveal the treasures of the kitchen, guiding your choices for the morning feast. Perhaps it was a tree laden with ripe figs, its branches bowing under the weight of nature's bounty. Perhaps it was a bush adorned with tempting berries that seemed harmless, yet none in your party could clearly recall whether the last fellow who indulged had lived to tell the tale. In the days of early humans, there were no field guides to illuminate the secrets of the plant world. Their approach was decidedly more adventurous. When the flavor danced upon your lips, you knew it was time to pause your feast. If it clouded your sight, you truly ceased to nourish yourself. Protein was a rare treasure to find. Should you possess a daring spirit, you might ascend a tree, driven by the quest for bird eggs' delicious treasures. Delicate and fiercely protected by vigilant parents wielding sharp beaks. In a stroke of fortune, one might catch sight of a lizard soaking up the sun, a creature that would sizzle if only fire were a reality, though it remained a mere fantasy. Thus, you savored it in its purest form, gnawing gently to steer clear of any teeth or bones. At times, the morning meal arrived in a rather unconventional manner. Presented as a half-consumed remains of a creature, a testament to the hunt of a nearby predator. This was seen as both a gift and a challenge. On one side, there's the allure of free meat. On the other hand, the predator could be lurking close by, pondering the curious sight of you clutching its remnants. In these moments, consuming food quickly became more than just a suggestion. It was the sole path to safety. Water was frequently regarded as part of breakfast as well. A few sips from a murky stream might ease the pangs of hunger, but beware, the aftermath could bring about mild dysentery and the fleeting whispers of hallucinations. Yet, when the alternative was hunger, you took a sip regardless, convincing yourself it enhanced the taste. Everything was consumed in a raw and unrefined manner, without the trappings of plates, utensils, or napkins. Meals were consumed in haste, whether standing, crouching, or while on the go. For to tarry too long in one place was to risk becoming the main course for another. As you savored the final morsel, sense of fullness lingered, yet your hunger remained only partially quenched. While the promise of survival glimmered brighter than before, in the ancient realm, that was the sole measure of worth that held significance. Discovering water was a simple task. Seeking out clean water, that was a tale woven from the fabric of imagination. Rivers, streams, and ponds beckoned with their shimmering surfaces, glistening under the warm embrace of sunlight. They whispered promises of life, yet concealed within their depths lay a hidden banquet of parasites, bacteria, and the occasional microscopic inhabitant eager to make your intestines its home. Yet, the thought of dehydration was simply out of the question, in the unforgiving embrace of the wild. Thirst claimed lives swifter than hunger ever could, leaving no room for the luxury of choice. A puddle, remnants of the previous night's rain, holds the promise of salvation? Even a shallow stream could hold secrets, serving as a favored haunt for crocodiles seeking their next meal. The assessment of risk was straightforward. Partake now, and perhaps face the consequences down the line. Or choose not to drink, and surely find yourself feeling unwell sooner. Indeed, there was a purpose behind this chaos. One did not simply stride to the water's edge and begin to sip. Such actions were the kind that would earn you a place in the annals of cautionary tales for all to learn from. Initially, you searched for signs of life, subtle disturbances that betrayed the breeze and shadows that seemed to hover just beneath the surface a moment too long. With the coast appearing clear, you crept forward, lowering yourself to the ground, and drank swiftly, as if aware that a hasty retreat could be necessary at any moment. Some groups crafted ingenious methods. Gathering water in your hands drew you away from the brink. Discovering a slender curve in the river unveiled a clearer sight of the approaching peril. In certain exceptional moments, one might stumble upon a naturally crafted pool hidden away from the bustling flow of the main current. A lavish retreat from the dawn of time, provided you could overlook the lifeless insects drifting on the surface. In those times, the notions of boiling or filtering were yet to be discovered. When the water shimmered with clarity, it was deemed likely to be just right. Even if it was murky, you took a sip, convincing yourself that the earthy flavor was by design. At times, this journey would unfold into days filled with stomach cramps and a host of other unwelcome outcomes. Yet, survival transcended the notion of comfort. It was a tale of carefully navigating the twists and turns. Each deliberate sip a step toward destiny. Thus, each sip became a daring wager. At times, you would depart feeling rejuvenated. At times, you found yourself departing with a sense of unease swirling within. And at times, you found yourself rooted in place, unable to step away. Yet despite the dangers that loomed, water remained the essence of existence, and life often revealed its sharp edges when least expected. In the ancient realm, attire transcended mere aesthetics. It was about the things that lingered with you through the night. The initial ensemble of the day was a curious collection of dirt, leaves, and enigmatic substances gathered during the night, perhaps while nestled in the branches of a tree. On certain mornings, you found yourself rising from slumber adorned in a mosaic of crushed grass and dried mud, a look that could nearly be mistaken for a clever disguise, as if you were attempting to merge with a compost heap. In that time, there existed neither cloaks of animal skin nor intricately woven fabrics, and certainly no seasonal wardrobes to speak of. Should you find yourself with a scrap of fur from a recent hunt, you could wrap it around your shoulders to ward off the chill. Yet, time and again, the truest layer you possessed was merely the skin that enveloped you, and maybe the rare insect that thought you were a feast waiting to be devoured. The shifting of seasons was managed with the finest innovations that the era had to offer, captivating. When the chill set in, you sought the warmth of the sun. When the heat became unbearable, you sought refuge beneath the cool embrace of the shade. When the skies opened up, the world became drenched in a cascade of droplets. There were no soggy clothes to lament, and thus no complaints arose. The concept of pristine garments was also absent. To cleanse oneself was to step into the embrace of a river, trusting that the flow would carry away the remnants of the day. Even so, just 10 minutes later, you would find yourself cloaked in a fine layer of dust, speckled with pollen, or perhaps adorned with the remnants of whatever fruit had burst forth in your grasp. From time to time, the art of body decoration would emerge, weaving tales of expression and identity. Not for the sake of humility, but rather to instill fear or for my own entertainment. Coating yourself in clay might just ward off pesky insects, but it also leaves you resembling a bewildered statue. Applying crushed berries to your skin created vivid streaks of red or purple, a mark of beauty that may have been admired, or perhaps an indication that you had engaged in a tussle with a particularly vibrant plant. Ah, the realm of footwear. Absolutely not. Your feet grew calluses as tough as ancient tools, yet even the most seasoned hunter would dance around in surprise after, stepping on a sharp rock, as if they had just encountered a hidden Lego in their path. And yet, in the absence of fabrics, zippers, or even a whisper of modesty, the masses neither succumbed to the biting cold nor melted away under the relentless sun. In the days of old, the attire was uncomplicated. Adorn yourself with the gifts of nature and trust that they won't turn against you. In a time long before our own, the community stood vigilant, bound by an unspoken duty to keep watch over one another, regardless of their personal feelings. In this realm, doors stood wide open, fences were mere whispers of boundaries, and the warnings of fierce guardians were nowhere to be found. The sole barrier between you and the lurking predators was your keen awareness, allowing you to spot them before they caught sight of you. Alas, the shadows were filled with predators lurking at every turn. Some prowled under the cloak of night, others roamed in the light of day, while a few lingered in the shadows. Biding their time for you to slip up, majestic felines preferred to hide amidst the swaying blades of grass, merging seamlessly with their surroundings until the very moment they chose to reveal themselves. Hyenas roamed in their groups, their laughter echoing with an eerie familiarity as if they were already privy to the tale's conclusion. And the snakes, they didn't pursue you, they simply lingered, biding their time for you to tread precisely where you ought not to. In the absence of a centralized alarm system, the only warning came from the unified cry of the group as something suddenly erupted from the underbrush. In those moments, chaos reigned supreme, with wild gestures and stones flying through the air, while the boldest or, perhaps the most unfortunate among the group, would leap into action, drawing attention away from the rest. To endure, one had to remain ever vigilant. Your gaze perpetually swept the trees, searching for shadows that felt out of place, while your ears tuned in to the faintest crack of twigs breaking in an unexpected direction. Every rustle might be the gentle whisper of the wind, or perhaps the cautious approach of something eyeing you as a potential meal. Living in a community was the ultimate safeguard. The greater your numbers, the higher the likelihood of catching sight of danger before it strikes, and, should the need arise, of leaving at least one companion behind in the race for safety. Unity played a crucial role, yet the instinct to protect oneself was equally important. In the dawn of humanity, the agreement among people was straightforward. We stand by one another. Yet if a leopard seizes you, that encounter is yours alone to face. Some groups even crafted informal watchful roles, though these positions lacked any sense of grandeur. Perched upon a rock, the act of scanning for peril often signified that you would be the first to catch the eye of that very peril. Yet, there was a singular advantage to the role. Should you catch a glimpse of impending trouble, you may find yourself with a chance to escape before it arrives. Thus, the prehistoric neighborhood watch emerged as a curious endeavor, manned solely by those who had no choice, receiving no compensation, and at times, becoming part of the very meal they sought to protect against. No one volunteered to join the ranks. From the instant your eyes fluttered open to the moment they gently closed, you simply existed. One can only wish it's not for eternity. In the days before our intricate tapestry of sounds, grammar, and the delightful twist of sarcasm, the way early humans connected was simple and understated. The opportunity to elaborate on your thoughts was not afforded to you. Instead, you communicated through a vivid tapestry of gestures, sounds, and expressions that conveyed everything from urgent warnings to the dramatic realization that the berry might be your undoing. Ah, the system, a marvel of design, functioning seamlessly, or so it seemed most of the time. Pointing emerged as the most adaptable instrument in the lexicon of our ancient ancestors. One might gesture towards a morsel, a lurking threat, or an object of mild intrigue, yet such actions frequently led to bewilderment. Pointing towards a distant gazelle could evoke the thrill of an impending hunt. Point at a nearby bush, and one might see it as an invitation to take cover, even if your true intent was to warn them away, for it harbors a swarm of stinging insects. Grunts served a variety of purposes. A low, drawn-out might signal that the food was delightful, or perhaps it indicates a struggle to swallow it. Quick, perhaps, could signal caution, or it might convey possession. To truly understand, one had to keenly watch the speaker's eyebrows. Holding on to a glimmer of hope for what might unfold, hand gestures danced through the air, weaving a tapestry of meaning, though their precision swayed like a leaf in the wind. A wave can carry a message, beckoning you closer, or urging you to retreat, shaped by the intensity of the moment. Waving your arms about could signal peril, or perhaps it's a cry for help because flames are licking at my skin. Or maybe, just maybe, there's an unwelcome insect making its presence known. This uncertainty added a layer of intrigue to existence, sometimes even hastening its end. In moments of dire need, the most dependable way to convey a message was through the power of a shout. A scream echoed, signaling that something terrible was unfolding in the present moment. Whether it was a lurking predator, a sudden rockfall, or the unwelcome surprise of a wasp nest, it was all part of the unfolding tale. Amidst the chaos, a chorus of screams erupted, and a frantic rush ensued. The finer points could be unraveled in due time, provided there were still souls present to recount them. The absence of language added a fascinating layer to the interplay of social dynamics. Exchanges regarding food resembled intense staring contests, each side locked in a silent battle of wills. Flirtation danced in the air, filled with lingering glances and the sweet sound of awkward laughter. perhaps culminating in the daring exchange of a shared piece of fruit for those brave enough to seize the moment. Disputes could flare up from mere grumbles to physical pushes in the blink of an eye, typically settled when one individual huffed off, seeking refuge behind a tree in a cloud of discontent. Though it lacked elegance, it certainly got the job done. Amidst a cacophony of sounds, animated gestures, and urgent indications, our early ancestors found ways to convey warnings, organize their hunts, and, on occasion, hurl playful jabs at one another. And truly, what more could one desire for a thriving community? The art of hunting, at its core, seems straightforward. Seek the creature, take its life, savor the feast. In the grand adventure of it all, it often unfolded as a quest. Discover the creature, send it into a frenzy, pursue it with fervor, tire yourself out, and wish for a twist of fate that would see the creature stumble before you do. In this tale, one would find no bows, no spears adorned with gleaming metal tips, and certainly no intricate traps crafted from detailed blueprints. The primary instruments were stones, branches, and the rare jagged fragment of bone, each one equally capable of causing harm to you as to your intended mark. Hurling a stone might prove useful, provided you find yourself within reach to connect. With the creature using your other hand, in another light, the rock served as a courteous nudge, urging the prey to hasten its escape. The initial phase of the pursuit lay in identifying the quarry. In the realm of the wild, gazelles, antelopes, and small deer emerged as the perfect subjects of the tale, not due to their ease of capture, but rather for the rich reward of their flesh that made the pursuit worthwhile. The dilemma at hand. With legs that could whisk them away in the blink of an eye, they vanished from view as if they were mere whispers in the wind. Pursuing them became a shared adventure. The swiftest among the group would take the lead, guiding the creature toward those poised in anticipation ahead. The act of waiting was a rather lenient description in this context. It often involved lingering in the vicinity, waiting with bated breath for the moment when the quarry would falter. Alas, the creatures of the wild possess a vigor that far surpasses our own, darting through the landscape with a grace that leaves one pondering the very choice of rising from slumber. In the pursuit of smaller creatures, such as rabbits or lizards, the method adopted was one of subtlety and stealth. In this tale, one found themselves inching along the ground, so deliberately that nature itself had the chance to weave its greenery around them. The thrill was a fleeting surge of energy, perhaps yours, and the opportunity to seize the creature before it vanished into a burrow too small for you to enter. Indeed, not every pursuit concluded with victory. At times, you returned bearing only the marks of your struggles, hands devoid of treasure, and a tale of how it slipped through your fingers once more. At times, you discovered that the tables had turned and you were the one being pursued. A stark reminder that the thrill of hunting a wild boar often comes with the peril of encountering its formidable tusks. Yet the glimmer of a modest triumph could nourish the band for a day, rendering the wariness a worthy sacrifice. And if you stumbled, fear not, for there were always berries to be found, provided you had not yet discovered the bitter lesson of which ones could bring harm. While hunting offered the thrill of danger and the promise of great rewards, resembled the steady routine of a mundane office job in prehistoric times, you had no intention of taking down a mammoth, yet you were equally determined to avoid being gored, mauled, or trampled in the process. In the realm of possibilities, the most troubling outcome might be an annoying itch, but should you stumble upon the wrong fungi, you could find yourself lost in a kaleidoscope of colors for the day, if your vision remained intact at all. Gathering was a communal endeavor, often embraced by those who preferred not to chase after irate creatures of the wild. The approach was simple: meander through the wild, catch sight of something that appeared appetizing, and trust your gutter, perhaps the wisdom of those who came before you, to ensure it wouldn't lead to your demise. Vibrant plants held an air of mystery. Plants that emitted an unpleasant odor raised eyebrows. Plants that appeared delectable carried an air of mystery, for nature had a playful wit. Among the treasures of the land, berries emerged as the most frequent discovery. Should they possess a delightful sweetness, you would savor them without delay. Even if they carried a hint of bitterness, you would likely consume them right away. For the primal urge of hunger in ancient times left no room for selective tastes. Tubers and roots formed another essential part of the diet, yet unearthing them demanded the unwavering patience of a saint and fingernails as tough as stone. Nuts were a coveted treasure, a high-calorie windfall, yet the act of breaking them. Open sans tools frequently morphed into an unexpected dental adventure. Amidst the greenery, seeds and edible leaves nestled together, yet the faces around seemed devoid of enthusiasm as they munched on the crisp, unadorned foliage. Every now and then, fortune would smile upon you, leading you to the sweet treasure of honey, a true gem in the ancient culinary world. However, there was a twist. These bees hailed from a time long past, and their views on sharing were resolute, often expressed through their sharp stingers. The gatherers faced their share of peril, never fully shielded from the lurking threats around them. In the shadows of the bushes, the snakes found their perfect sanctuary, weaving tales of mystery and stealth. Once upon a time, wild pigs found themselves quite displeased when humans dared to pilfer their beloved snacks. And every so often, a different band of wanderers would pass through, casting glances at your basket, and ultimately conclude that their hunger outweighed yours. Yet, there were undeniable advantages to coming together. One could communicate through simple sounds and movements while toiling away, watch over the little ones, and sidestep the frantic dash across the fields in a frantic quest to secure a meal. In the end, when the hunters came back without their prize, the gatherers' hall became the centerpiece of the feast, and the simple assortment of roots and berries was celebrated as if it were a grand banquet. In the vast tapestry of prehistoric, survival gathering may not have sparkled with allure, yet it stood as a steadfast pillar of reliability, in a realm where trust could tip the scales between survival and demise. You became the unsung champions of your community. In the ancient realm, seeking refuge was a quest far removed from the notion of comfort. It was a matter of enduring just long enough to voice grievances about the absence of ease. The essence of home was ever-changing. At times, it transformed into a shallow cave. At others, it became the sheltered space beneath a leaning tree. And occasionally, it was merely a rock large enough to conceal yourself behind, as you imagined it to be a sturdy wall. In the realm of choices, caves stood as the pinnacle selection. They offered a refuge from the sun's harsh glare, a barrier against the rain's relentless fall, and a sturdy wall that required no effort to construct on your part. The drawback? They often found themselves engaged with something far more formidable than you. The journey of negotiating ownership unfolded through a tapestry of intricate strategies. Shouting, brandishing sticks, and fleeing when the current occupant appeared. Unfazed. In the absence of caves, overhangs, and hollowed-out trees emerged as the coveted dwellings of choice. While they didn't provide the utmost shield, they certainly surpassed the vulnerability of being exposed, where the sole cover was the rare. Birds soaring above, occasionally bestowing an unwelcome surprise, in a moment of sheer desperation. The only choice left was to craft your own refuge. This involved the careful arrangement of branches, leaves, and mud. Crafting a structure that resembled a tent in the most imaginative way. Though it lacked beauty, and certainly couldn't withstand the elements, it wrapped around you like a warm embrace, offering a sense of safety that felt almost tangible. Should the wind howl with ferocity, you could find your roof whisked away to a distant realm, yet take solace in the fact that you dared to venture forth. The significance of placement cannot be overlooked. Constructing your haven near the rivers, edge beckoned the threat of floods and the eerie possibility of nocturnal encounters with crocodiles. Perched upon the hill, one could find the promise of better drainage, yet it also brought the whispers of the wind and a scarcity of refuge should danger come knocking. Discovering the ideal location was a careful dance between ensuring safety and avoiding the bitter chill of the elements. Within the space, the furnishings were a collection of items that offered comfort. Inviting one to sit or recline without the fear of injury, heaps of grass provided a cozy refuge. As long as you were willing to share your space with the little, critters that called it home. Flat rocks, versatile in nature, could serve as seats, tables, or even weapons when the moment called for it. An illumination. That gift arrived from the sun, or perhaps the moon, if fate had left you restless in the night. In essence, the dwellings of prehistoric times were far removed from notions of luxury. It was a matter of finding a barrier against the elements, with a silent prayer that this shield would withstand the storm, remain anchored, and not unleash any hidden dangers as darkness fell. Fire served as the ancient world's remarkable tool, much like a smartphone does today. Once it graced your life, you marveled at how you ever existed without its presence, and when it slipped away, a wave of panic washed over you. What's the dilemma? In contrast to smartphones, there was no simple way to bring it back to life. Fire was a precious gift, taken from the heart of nature, nurtured into existence, protected with the utmost care, for it was akin to a beloved child. In the beginning, many souls first met the fierce embrace of fire when a bolt of lightning chose to unleash its power upon a solitary tree, casting it down into the heart of the savannah. The daring souls, or perhaps the foolhardy, would leap forward to seize a blazing branch before the fire's fury faded away. In those moments, chaos erupted. People dashed about, voices raised in urgency, and branches were shaken vigorously.
Ow.
On a desperate bid to escape the encroaching flames. Once fire was discovered, nurturing its flame became the tribe's foremost quest. One could not create more, not until a curious soul stumbled upon the secret of swiftly rubbing sticks together, revealing a spark of possibility. Until then, the fire was akin to a cantankerous companion, stubbornly refusing to nourish itself. There was a vigilant guardian, ever watchful, tending to the flames with fresh wood, shielding it from the rain's embrace, and ensuring that no unsuspecting soul stumbled into its flickering depths. The rewards outweighed the challenges. The flames transformed raw ingredients into a delightful feast, enhancing flavors and reducing the risks of danger. It sent shivers down the spines of predators, causing them to hesitate, pondering their next move before lunging forward. And on those frigid nights, it shielded you from trembling your way into an untimely end. Yet the flames held a shadowy secret. Approach with caution, for the lesson in suffering awaits, delivered in a sharp, fiery manner. Neglect to keep an eye on it, and the whole savannah might ignite, consuming your refuge, your provisions, and perhaps even your eyebrows in. The process, in the tapestry of life, fire emerged as the heart of all gatherings. As the crowd encircled the feast, they indulged in conversation and laughter, their eyes occasionally drawn to the centerpiece as if it were conjuring enchantments, for in their eyes it truly was. The flames twirled gracefully, the wood splintered, with a satisfying crack, and for a fleeting moment, existence seemed to embrace a sense of civility. Maintaining the flame was more than mere survival. It was a mark of honor. To wield the flames was to hold the keys to warmth, security, and sustenance.
Ow.
Thus, if the fire extinguished under your care, it would be wise to make your escape before the others caught on to the impending chaos. In the ancient realm, the fierce hunters were not mere figures on a screen, but the very essence of survival itself. In the stillness of the night, they emerged as shadows, lurking just beyond the edge of your awareness, a breath too near for comfort. In a world devoid of barriers, where weapons lay untouched and the call for help went unanswered, the landscape unfolded in its raw, untamed beauty. To endure in this world, one must understand the predators lurking in the shadows and learn the art of evasion to stay one step ahead of them. The lineup was truly remarkable. Big cats were truly the most formidable of creatures, graceful, whispering through the air, and swifter than your most triumphant moment. They could approach with such stealth that the only sign of their presence might be the distant echo of another's terrified cry.
Ow.
Next in line were the hyenas, prowling in packs with jaws powerful enough to crunch through bones, accompanied by their eerie laughter that echoed in the night. In the stillness of the rivers, crocodiles lay in wait, masquerading as mere logs, biding their time until the moment you drew near, only to unleash a sudden and deadly surprise roll. In that moment, snakes slithered into view, some with venomous fangs, others coiling tightly, each one a master at appearing precisely where you wished they wouldn't. Even the birds joined in on the excitement. Imagine a scene where colossal raptors descend from the skies, snatching up unsuspecting smaller humans. For the unfortunate soul, it spells disaster, while the remaining group is left to navigate the ensuing tension of an incredibly awkward evening, steering clear of predators. Consumed every moment of every day. With keen eyes, you began to survey the vast expanse before you, attuned to the eerie quiet that often signaled something amiss. You understood that if danger was not visible, it likely lurked just out of sight, waiting for the perfect moment to reveal itself. Resting in clusters provided some comfort, yet it also increased the chances of being stirred by another's fear rather than the true threat lurking nearby at times. The most effective strategy was to take the fight to the foe, shouting, hurling stones, or brandishing sticks to make the predators see you as a less appealing target. This thrived in the company of many. In solitude, it transformed into a poignant farewell, laden with emotion. In the face of relentless peril, humanity found a way to thrive. We discovered the rhythms of nature, where the rivers concealed crocodiles, where the bushes sheltered snakes, and which trees offered refuge for climbing when urgency called. Endurance hinged not on confrontation but rather on the art of timing, ensuring one avoided perilous moments. And when all else faltered, the key was simply to outpace the slowest. Among you, indeed, it is quite severe. In the ancient realm, the essence of right and wrong frequently faded into the shadows, overshadowed by the primal instinct to survive until dawn. In the ancient world, raising children was far removed from the comforts of piano lessons, the warmth of bedtime tales, or the routine of preparing school lunches. It was a journey of nurturing, ensuring that the young ones thrived just long enough to grasp the art of survival in a world fraught with peril. It encompassed the whole of the curriculum, essential skills for enduring the elements. From the moment they entered the world, prehistoric infants bore a singular, significant imperfection. Their voices echoed through the air, vibrant and full of life, resonating with a volume that beckons the attention of predators from remarkable distances. Silencing them with a pacifier was out of the question, for such things had yet to be conceived. And placing them in a crib was equally impossible, as cribs were still a dream waiting to be realized. With no other choice, you had to take them along wherever you went, relying on your piercing gaze to persuade them to cease revealing your whereabouts. Embracing the journey of carrying a child is far more intricate than it may appear. In your hands, there was neither a stroller nor a baby sling, nor the comfort of an ergonomic carrier. Once you possessed arms, and if fortune smiled upon you, a strip of animal hide to secure them to your back. Every task, from foraging for food to scaling a tree to evade a lurking leopard, had to be accomplished with a small human clinging to you. Much like a particularly demanding backpack, the journey of teaching commenced at dawn. Little ones were guided on the delightful berries to savor, the art of tossing stones, and the boundaries of their explorations. Lessons often unfolded in a tactile manner, sometimes revealing the missteps of a fellow child from which valuable insights could be gleaned. The lesson about the snake, a cautionary tale in itself, typically required just a single telling. Discipline unfolded with clarity. Should you stray from the path of good behavior, a piercing glance, a stern word, or a light tap would swiftly remind you of the boundaries set before you. Yet, in the grand tapestry of events, the outcomes unfolded as if guided by nature itself. Choose to forge your own path. One would discover solitude enveloping them. Disregard the cautions regarding the river. The crocodiles would offer their insights. The unforgiving landscape served as the most formidable companion in the journey of raising young ones. The days of childhood slipped away all too quickly. As soon as a child found their footing, World around them beckoned for their participation, gathering sticks for the fire, assisting in the hunt for provisions, and shooing away birds from the sun-dried meat. These were the ancient tasks of survival. Expressing dissatisfaction was not truly a possibility, for the absence of dinner held no menace. The inevitable result of neglecting to lend a hand unfolded before us. Amidst the ever-present perils, the journey of raising young ones in prehistoric times was not without its treasures. Observing your child embark on their inaugural solo berry-picking adventure, skillfully navigating the challenges and triumphantly evading any potential mishaps, fills you with an extraordinary sense of pride. And if they reached the threshold of adulthood, it'd be a testament to the fulfillment of your purpose, at least until they began crafting their own delicate, boisterous little beings. In the ancient realm, conflicts arose. Perhaps your beloved Sitting Rock has been claimed by another. Perhaps they indulged a bit too much in the roasted lizard feast. Or perhaps they cast you a curious glance as you chewed on a mammoth bone. Regardless of the reason, clashes were bound to arise, and the answers flowed with ease. Choice 1. Clenched hands. When tempers ignited, there was no structured discourse, no mediation, and certainly no, let's share our emotions, instead. One would encounter a brief eruption of vocalizations akin to forceful growls, succeeded by a tangible clash of perspectives. These clashes were swift and savage, rarely settling. Anything beyond who would be left missing a front tooth. Choice 2. Once upon a time, there were rocks. In the ancient world, rocks served as the ultimate multi-tool, aiding in the hunt, the construction of shelters, the cracking of nuts, and, in heated moments, persuading others to grasp your perspective, ideally from a secure distance. Hurling a stone marked a distinct turning point, a moment where tensions surged and the air thickened with unspoken challenges. As the first rock soared through the air, the chatter ceased, and a palpable understanding settled over the crowd. The others would take a step back, both to dodge any potential mishaps and to savor the unfolding spectacle. Choice 3. Fleeing into the unknown. Among the many ways to resolve conflict, running stands out as a hidden gem. It shields you from injuries, prevents lingering grudges, and keeps you safe from becoming an unintended meal for a predator attracted by the commotion. Indeed, the act of fleeing bore its own perils, particularly the shadow of appearing weak-hearted. Yet, in the grand tapestry of prehistoric existence, a living coward held more value than a fallen hero. At times, conflicts found their resolution through unexpected paths. The wise ones of the group, having weathered the storms of time, would intervene, not out of a sense of justice, but because conflicts threatened harm, and harm would only hinder their journey forward. Their approach to mediation was clear and direct. With a wave of authority, they silenced both sides and urged them to seek nourishment. Without the framework of formal laws, the true outcome of engaging in too many conflicts was a profound sense of social isolation. Should you find yourself alone in the wilderness, with no companions to share in the hunt or gather sustenance, your odds of survival would plummet like a stone hurled toward your skull. In the grand tapestry of history, the methods of resolving conflict in prehistoric times may not have been refined. Yet they held a certain effectiveness that spoke to the resilience of those early societies. The paths laid before you were straightforward, the results unmistakable, and if you survived to recount the tale, you might hesitate before embarking on the next adventure. Migration was not merely a seasonal escape. It was a profound and urgent need. When the provisions dwindled, the streams ceased to flow, or the lurking predators grew a tad too familiar with our encampment. The answer was clear. Gather all that you possess: a simple stick, a sturdy rock, and the clothes upon your back end. Set forth on your journey. There was no question of, are we there yet? For the reason that no one had any inkling of its whereabouts. The choice to relocate was reached as a group, though that often meant the eldest. Most cantankerous member declaring, "We can't remain here, everything is lifeless," and the rest nodding in agreement. The journey unfolded at a leisurely pace, truly unhurried. Little ones, with their tiny strides, the wise ones with aching joints, and a constant pause for berry picking. examining animal tracks, or voicing grievances about sore feet. The journey was marked by the distance to the next welcoming shade tree, rather than by miles traveled. The task of transporting belongings presented yet another hurdle. Without the convenience of backpacks, one had to resort to wrapping their belongings in animal hides or precariously balancing them atop their head. Congratulations on your new arrival. You've now become a cozy mobile haven for your little one. When you had a bounty of food, you were the beloved companion of all. But once it dwindled, so too did their affection. The culinary journey was a tapestry of delightful surprises and unexpected disappointments. On certain days, fortune smiled upon you, revealing a bush brimming with ripe berries or the remains of an animal that still held promise. Yet on other nights, you lay down with hunger, gnawing at your insides, lamenting every plant you encountered for failing to offer sustenance. The element of water presented its own set of challenges. You either stumbled upon a crystal-clear stream, or you took a chance on a murky puddle, crossing your fingers for a stroke of luck. And so, the tale turned to the weather. Migration may involve traversing a blazing sun, enduring biting winds, or being caught in unexpected rainstorms. It became clear to you that the notion of perfect weather was merely a myth. What truly existed were only the days that were less unfavorable. After what felt like an eternity of wandering, you would stumble upon a new place that held the promise of adventure. Imagine a place where water flows freely, food sources abound, and perhaps a cave awaits. Untouched by any living creature, you would establish your camp, breathe a sigh of relief, and begin to weave a narrative in your mind that this was the ideal spot to call home for all eternity. Indeed, in the grand tapestry of prehistoric times, the notion of forever often translated to the moment the food supply dwindled once more. For prehistoric humans, survival was a constant battle, woven into the very fabric of their existence. It was the relentless, round-the-clock endeavor that everyone undertook without a moment's respite. Each day unfolded like a tale of chaos, where the unexpected became the norm, leaving no room for preparation in the face of constant turmoil. In a world where survival reigned supreme, the notion of comfort was merely the absence of danger, and the greatest indulgence lay in the satisfaction of a full belly and the intactness of one's limbs. Survival was an intricate dance, a narrative woven through the fabric of peril and resilience. Every decision you embraced carried its essence within, which berries you gathered, the location of your shelter, the distance you roamed from the others. Every choice unfolded like a dance, a careful interplay of seeking out resources while also transforming into resources for something greater. The weaving of connections was integral to the plan. In solitude, you were but a tantalizing taste. In a gathering, you found yourself amidst a lively, unpredictable collective that could ward off threats and distribute the burdens of survival. Indeed, sharing a space with others brought about endless squabbles over meals, cozy corners, and the coveted dry patch by the fire. Yet the benefits far outweighed the annoyances. Even the most bothersome member of the crew could someday be the one who noticed the leopard before it noticed you. With food storage nearly absent, the guiding principle became to savor every bite when the opportunity arose. Thus, there were grand celebrations when the hunt yielded bountiful results, and dismal scavenging when it fell short. In a world devoid of lasting assurance, there existed an unending rhythm of discovery, indulgence, and the relentless quest for more. The true essence lay in the ability to adapt. The weather shifted, the rivers ran dry, the herds departed, and, in an instant, your once perfect camp transformed into a perilous snare. In the ancient realm, clinging to one's ways could lead to demise, whereas the art of adaptability, even if it required leaving behind a cherished resting place, ensured survival. Even moments of leisure carried the weight of survival. Gathering around the fire, the tales spun were more than mere entertainment. They served as a vital means of sharing essential wisdom. A narrative unfolds of a valiant warrior who, despite the ominous signs, ventured into a treacherous swamp. This was not merely a tale of peril. It served as a cautionary lesson to steer clear of such murky depths unless one had a penchant for leeches and quicksand. In essence, survival was not merely an event. It wove itself into the very fabric of culture, economy, religion, and the rhythm of daily life, intertwining them all into a singular existence. In a time long past, when prehistoric humans faced the relentless trials of danger, hunger, and hardship, they unknowingly paved the way for our existence today. Here we are, comfortably seated, absorbing the stories of their struggles through a video that connects us to their journey. In the bustling heart of Constantinople, where the air was thick with the sounds of life and the scent of ambition, Theodora's journey commenced not in the grand halls of authority, but amidst the vibrant chaos of the Hippodrome district. In the year 500, a remarkable tale begins. With the birth of a girl, the daughter of a bear trainer who served the illustrious Greens, one of the city's celebrated chariot racing factions. Her father's work was fraught with peril and uncertainty. In the heart of the arena, a single misstep could spell doom, as a fierce creature lies in wait, ready to snatch away a man's life in the blink of an eye. Theodora's earliest memories danced with the echoes of roaring crowds, the rhythmic clatter of hooves against stone, and the lingering sense of sweat, animals, and dust that filled the air. In a moment that would forever alter their lives, the family faced the heart-wrenching loss of their father, the very anchor of their household, leaving them adrift without their primary means of support. In the Byzantine Empire, a lower class woman faced a precarious fate when she found herself in the shadows of widowhood. In that moment, the ground felt unsteady, and the shadows of uncertainty loomed large, with no cushion to soften the fall. With a fierce resolve to shield her daughters from the clutches of poverty, Theodora's mother swiftly found a new partner among the ranks of the Hippodrome's staff. Yet the new stepfather's influence was constrained, and the family's survival hinged on maneuvering through the harsh truths of the city's impoverished neighborhoods. From a tender age, Theodora discovered the delicate nature of existence. Poverty loomed as a tangible reality, not just a distant worry. It was the very essence that filled her lungs. She would have witnessed the weary figures of beggars finding solace beneath porticos, orphaned children peddling their meager wares, and bustling market stalls where every coin was a hard-won treasure. In a realm like this, beauty and cleverness were essential treasures. They were instruments of a greater purpose. And Theodora, from her earliest days, started to refine her skills. She was raised amidst the swirling turmoil of the hippodromes. Political upheaval. The rival chariot factions, the blues and the greens, transcended mere sports teams. They were formidable forces that held the potential to shape destinies. Their reach stretched far beyond the racetrack, weaving through the bustling streets, vibrant marketplaces, and even the grand halls of the imperial palace. Born into the embrace of the greens, Theodora would have quickly grasped the intricate web of allegiances and the perils that awaited those who dared to defy the wrong faction. In those early years, she'd gained a perspective that no privileged background could offer, an unwavering awareness of life's brutal realities and a survival instinct honed by the demands of necessity. She grew up without the notion of entitlement. She grew up learning to grasp every chance that came her way, regardless of the price to pay. In the years ahead, those instincts would guide her away from the clamor and grime of the hippodrome, leading her deep into the core of Byzantine authority. But for now, Theodora was merely a girl on the city's fringes, observing, absorbing, and subtly readying herself for a future that no one could have foreseen for her. In Constantinople, the theater stood not as a sanctuary of elevated artistry. For the common folk, it unfolded as a grand arena of cleverness, allure, and unabashed display. In a world where Theodora's family had little to provide beyond her striking beauty and sharp wit, the stage became her beacon of hope and a means to carve out her destiny. It was fraught with peril, yet it offered a path ahead. By the time she reached her early teens, she had stepped onto the stage of the Hippodrome's affiliated theaters, captivating audiences with her performances in pantomimes and comedic skits. These were not the refined tragedies of ancient Greece. These were lively and provocative displays filled with humor that danced on the edge of propriety, where the crowd was ever ready to express their delight or disapproval. The boundary separating entertainer from courtesan was delicate, and Theodora, akin to numerous actresses of her era, probably enhanced her modest income through the affections of affluent patrons. To the elite, those women were cast aside as tainted by immorality, yet for Theodora, the theater unfolded as a grand lesson, in shifting their emotions with a simple gesture or a warm smile. She became a virtuoso of timing, captivating audiences both on stage and in life, in the unforgiving landscape of Constantinople. Charm became a formidable weapon, and Theodora mastered its art with growing finesse. Whispers of her beauty danced through the streets, captivating the hearts of the city's lower and middle classes. Yet her sharp tongue was equally renowned, leaving an indelible mark on all who crossed her path. She was a vibrant force, full of life and purpose. Theodora possessed a remarkable gift for dialogue, capable of charming, provoking, or disarming with equal finesse. This rendered her captivating to some and perilous to others. In the midst of swirling circles, where influential men sought refuge from their burdens, she honed the art of attentive listening to their every word in the warm embrace of sunlight. The murmurs of political intrigue held a worth that rivaled gold, yet the journey of an actress was filled with uncertainty. In the world of competition, rivalries held the power to extinguish lives, while the capricious whims of the audience could shatter a career in the blink of an eye. Theodora understood that her time in this world was limited, yet she recognized that each night spent on stage and every interaction with a wealthy patron served as a vital stepping stone on her journey. She was not just getting by, she was delving deep, honing her skills for what lay ahead. And as the days turned into nights, her ambition would carry her far beyond the soft glow of the theater's flickering oil lamps, on a path to a fate that remained beyond the wildest dreams of those gathered in those hazy theaters. Theodora's journey from the stage to the palace was anything but a straightforward ascent. It was a tale marked by scandal, exile, and a profound transformation of her very essence in her late teens. Theodora departed from Constantinople, a moment captured by chroniclers with a flair for the dramatic and a hint of prejudice. Accounts of Procopius, who would later emerge as one of her most notable critics. It is said that she took on the role of mistress to a Byzantine official stationed in North Africa. As the bond between them frayed, Theodora stood alone in an unfamiliar land, stripped of resources, devoid of companions, and faced with the daunting challenge of finding her way back home. For many women in her situation, this would have marked the conclusion of the tale, but Theodora was unlike any other woman. Alone and adrift, she set forth on a journey back to the capital. Weaving through the vibrant tapestry of cities scattered across the eastern Mediterranean and Alexandria, it is said that she encountered a Christian ascetic who guided her in reshaping her life and aspirations. Regardless of whether this was a genuine transformation of faith or a clever repositioning, the outcome remained unchanged. Theodora stepped forth, imbued with a newfound sense of purpose and an elegantly polished image. Gone was the vibrant performer celebrated for her audacious acts and cheeky wit. In her stead stood a woman who exuded an air of modesty, piety, and intellect. She exchanged the flamboyant attire of the stage for more understated, dignified garments. She nurtured a reputation for kindness toward the less fortunate and empathy for those in need, particularly women ensnared in the same challenging existence she had once experienced. Upon her arrival in Antioch, she had transcended the realm of mere survival through her beauty or cleverness. She was meticulously arranging her path toward a new horizon. Her circle started to weave in the threads of influential merchants, court officials, and clergy. Rumors of her metamorphosis started to echo through the streets of Constantinople. Her name now murmured not only in the dimly lit corners of taverns, but also in the hushed halls of authority. Upon her return to the capital, Theodora had transformed into someone entirely different from the girl who had once departed. She moved with a grace that spoke of journeys through vast realms, facing perils head-on and mastering the art of transforming challenges into opportunities. The stage had bestowed upon her the art of performance, while exile had forged within her an unyielding resilience. As she stepped into the most pivotal chapter of her life, both would serve her well, for it was here that she would meet the man destined to make her empress. Upon her return to Constantinople, Theodora had shed the identity of a struggling performer and the label of a discarded mistress. She was a woman of elegance, possessing a keen intellect and an unwavering determination that guided her every step. In this newly awakened form, she captivated the gaze of a man whose aspirations mirrored her own. In the grand tapestry of history, Justinian emerges as the formidable nephew and rightful heir to Emperor Justin I. The tale of Theodora and Justinian's initial encounter remains shrouded in mystery. Yet the chronicles of the time resonate with the notion that their courtship was anything but conventional. When their paths finally crossed, Justinian had already ascended as a prominent figure in the imperial court, a man marked by unwavering determination, sharp intellect in law, and an unyielding ambition. He had a knack for gathering talented individuals around him, yet none could quite rival Theodora's brilliance and charm. She possessed a beauty that transcended the ordinary. She was captivating, a master of dialogue who could engage deeply in discussions about politics, law, and theology. In a time when women of her kind were frequently overlooked or exploited, Theodora emerged as a remarkable figure. Justinian perceived in her not merely a companion, but a confidant who grasped the intricate tides of authority and sway. Theodora, in her heart, saw in Justinian a key to a realm she had gazed upon from afar, a world she had long yearned to explore. Yet, a formidable challenge loomed over their bond. In the intricate tapestry of Byzantine law, a decree stood firm, prohibiting high-ranking officials from uniting in marriage with actresses or those who once graced the stage as courtesans. To the discerning circles of the conservative elite, Theodora's history rendered her an unworthy candidate for the role of empress alongside a future ruler. Yet Justinian was a figure who refused to allow tradition to shape his decisions. With determination in his heart, he championed a transformation in the law, skillfully convincing his uncle to enact legislation that would permit such unions. This reform, seemingly modest in its written form, proved to be transformative in its real-world impact. It stood as a bold confrontation to the deep-seated biases of the Byzantine elite. With the legal barrier lifted, Theodora and Justinian united in marriage around the year 525. The wedding heralded the dawn of a partnership destined to transform the very essence of imperial governance in the Eastern Roman Empire. Theodora refused to be merely a beautiful figure in the court of empires. From the very beginning, she expressed her desire to share the reins of power with her husband. To the discerning gazes within the court, this union stirred whispers of scandal. To Theodora, it was the culmination of fate's grand design. She had journeyed from the dusty fringes of the hippodrome to the very core of the Byzantine throne room. And this was merely the beginning of her tale. The union of Theodora and Justinian transcended mere personal ties. It was a union forged in the fires of ambition, destined to elevate them to the heights of the Byzantine Empire. In the year 527, aging Emperor Justin III, beset by frailty and ill health, took a momentous step by formally crowning his nephew as emperor. In a twist of fate, mere months passed before Justin's life came to an end, casting Justinian into the role of sole ruler. By his side, Theodora ascended to the esteemed rank of Augusta, the pinnacle of titles an empress could ever attain. Her coronation unfolded with vibrant energy and captivating moments. Chroniclers observed that she donned imperial purple, exuding a confidence that could stand shoulder to shoulder with Justinian's formidable presence. From the very start, she chose not to stand behind him. She stood beside him, sharing the platform, the rituals, and most importantly, the weight of governance. For many within the court, this was a moment unlike any other. Theodora was a force to be reckoned with. She held the power of a co-sovereign, even if the title eluded her grasp. Theodora swiftly cast her spell of influence. In the heart of the council chambers, she listened intently, offering her wisdom on state affairs, and played a pivotal role in crafting the very fabric of imperial policy. Before ascending to the throne, her experiences had bestowed upon her a rare understanding of the struggles faced by society's most vulnerable. With passion and conviction, she implored Justinian to implement laws that would safeguard women, especially in matters of forced prostitution, property rights, and the guardianship of children. In her journey, she dedicated herself to elevating the standing of actresses, putting an end to exploitative practices that had once been prevalent in her early days. Yet, her ascent was met with fierce resistance from the established elite. In the hallowed halls of the Senate, hot whispers lingered, painting her as a figure of humble origins and dubious virtue. Deemed unfit to stand alongside the emperor in the realm of power, Procopius, the chronicler of the court, would go on to craft his notorious secret history, depicting Theodora as cunning, vengeful, and harsh. A narrative rich with political prejudice, regardless of whether these claims held any truth or were merely born from bitterness. They illuminate the profound way in which she disrupted the established norms. Yet Theodora stood her ground, unyielding and resolute. She grasped the significance of imagery and grandeur in the realm of Byzantine politics. With each public appearance, her authority was further solidified, whether through grand processions, winding through the bustling streets of Constantinople or the opulent ceremonies held within the majestic walls of the Hagia Sophia. She crafted an aura of noble grace, balanced by a sharp tongue and an unyielding spirit. As Justinian's reign blossomed, Theodora emerged not merely as empress, but as a vital force in the empire's governance. Her influence woven intricately into the fabric of power, and soon she would encounter the first monumental challenge of that power, one that would reveal if she was genuinely worthy of the crown. In the cold month of January, in the year 532, the streets of Constantinople ignited with fervor, giving rise to one of the most tumultuous uprisings ever witnessed, known as the Nika Revolt. What started as a quarrel between the city's two renowned chariot factions, the Blues and the Greens, transformed into a grand uprising against Justinian's reign. In a remarkable twist of fate, the factions' once sworn adversaries came together. Under a singular battle cry, Nika, which echoed the promise of victory, the hippodrome transformed into a vibrant hub, alive with the fervor of tens of thousands of passionate citizens rallying for their cause. There were numerous complaints, burdensome taxes, rampant corruption, and legal reforms that did not sit well with the people. Yet, within the streets, the uprising began to weave its own narrative. Amidst the chaos, flames engulfed entire neighborhoods, as looters ransacked shops and surged into government buildings, leaving a trail of destruction in their wake. In just a matter of days, the city of Constantinople was engulfed in flames. With the iconic church of Hagia Sophia among the structures consumed by the inferno, within the grand palace, chaos unfolded. In a moment of peril, Justinian found himself surrounded by advisors who had pressed upon him the urgency of escape by sea. Suggesting he abandon the capital to the chaos of the mob, the emperor found himself, in a moment of uncertainty, acutely aware that remaining could lead to either capture or a grim fate. In that moment, Theodora stepped forward and wove a speech that would echo through the ages, shaping her legacy forever. In the annals of history, she proclaimed to the court, "If escape were the sole path to safety, still I would not take to my heels. Those who have donned the crown must never endure the anguish of its absence. To my mind, the royal purple stands as the most dignified veil." Her message resonated with clarity. She would choose the crown of an empress over a life steeped in shame. Her unwavering determination cast a shadow over the hesitant, fortifying Justinian's resolve. A choice was reached. They would clash in a battle for the crown. Under Theodora's guiding hand, Justinian called upon his most steadfast generals, Belisarius and Mundus, to quell the uprising. With a cunning blend of trickery and strength, they beckoned the rioters back into the grand hippodrome as the entrances closed tight. The imperial forces surged forth, unleashing a wave of violence upon the rebels in a harrowing scene of carnage. Accounts from the time suggest that on one fateful day, the lives of as many as 30,000 individuals were tragically lost. The echoes of conflict lingered in the air, a somber reminder that the rebellion had reached its conclusion. Justinian held steadfastly to his throne, his power reinstated, while Theodora's legacy as a bold and unwavering leader was firmly established. She had not merely preserved her husband's rule, she had demonstrated to both the empire and its adversaries that she was far more than a mere symbol of authority. She stood as its guardian, with the Nika revolt quelled and her power firmly established. Theodora shifted her focus to the causes that resonated deeply with her soul. She carried the memories of her youth struggles close to her heart. In the shadows of Byzantine society, tales of poverty and exploitation weave through the lives of women who navigate a world where their protection is all too often absent. Now, as empress, she was in a position to change those conditions through law. Working alongside Justinian, Theodora championed reforms that transformed the legal landscape for women. She championed a law that rendered it unlawful to coerce women into prostitution, frequent destiny for those left behind or burdened by debt. In the heart of Constantinople, she established a grand refuge known as the House of Repentance, sanctuary where those who had once walked a different path could find solace, nourishment, and the opportunity to acquire new skills. For Theodora, this was a tangible act of kindness, deeply rooted in her understanding of the world. It was a beacon she longed to have encountered more frequently in her formative years. She championed the cause of property and inheritance rights for women, safeguarding the dowries of widows and ensuring that daughters could inherit wealth when there were no male heirs to claim it. In a pivotal shift, guardianship laws underwent transformation. Aimed at safeguarding children and thwarting the exploitation by relatives vying for dominion over family fortunes. Once upon a time, the scales of justice and divorce laws tipped heavily towards men. However, a transformative change emerged, granting women newfound legal avenues to seek justice in the face of abuse or neglect. Theodora's influence reached far and wide. Transcending the confines of the palace, she endeavored to rein in the influence of corrupt provincial governors, a number of whom took advantage of their subjects, especially women. She sent forth imperial inspectors to delve into the grievances and called for responsibility. Her deeds garnered the admiration of the common folk, while the aristocrats seethed with resentment, perceiving her meddling as a direct challenge to their esteemed authority. In the realm of foreign policy, she wielded her influence to support those in need, championing the cause of the vulnerable. In a time when the Persian Empire cast shadows over the monotheist Christian sect, a group often at odds with the Orthodox establishment, Theodora emerged as a beacon of hope, extending her hand to offer them sanctuary within the safe embrace of Byzantine lands. This action revealed her deep-seated beliefs and her adeptness at navigating the intricate dynamics of conflicting religious groups. Why? While Procopius and other critics would later depict her as shrewd and merciless, they could not overlook the magnitude of her impact on the empire's legal framework. In the era of Byzantium, Theodora's reign shone as a unique chapter, a time when the voices of women found a place within the hallowed halls of influence. Her reforms did not erase inequality, yet they altered the dynamics, demonstrating that an empress could transcend mere ceremonial roles. She could emerge as a champion for the voiceless. Theodora's presence in the Byzantine Empire extended far beyond mere acts of charity or legal changes. She was intricately woven into the intricate and high-stakes political maneuvers that characterized Justinian's rule. From her position beside the emperor, she deftly maneuvered through the tangled web of court intrigue, foreign diplomacy, and religious disputes, employing the keen instincts that had once ensured her survival on the bustling streets of Constantinople. In the grand halls of the imperial court, a silent war raged. Fate fought not with weapons, but with whispers, loyalties, and the power of suggestion, capable of lifting one to greatness or casting another into oblivion. Theodora had a remarkable talent for spotting dangers on the horizon and deftly dismantling them before they could take root. She wove a web of informants, deftly gathering the murmurs that floated through the Senate chambers, the bustling marketplaces, and the secluded corners of rival nobles' homes. Those who failed to recognize her strength often discovered themselves subtly ousted from their roles of power, or facing public humiliation. In the empire, the interplay of faith and governance stirred a ceaseless undercurrent of conflict, with Theodora stepping into the fray as a pivotal figure. As Justinian endeavored to weave the Christian church into a single tapestry of orthodox belief, Theodora, with her unwavering resolve, nurtured deep connections with the Monophysite faction, shielding them from harm and often stepping forth as their champion within the halls of power. This established a fragile harmony between the royal pair. Some viewed it as a burden of politics, while others perceived it as a shrewd method of binding both factions to the crown. In the realm of foreign affairs, Theodora displayed a cunning that rivaled the most astute of generals. She engaged in correspondence with foreign rulers, including the Persian queen and other influential women beyond the empire's borders, skillfully utilizing these connections to forge alliances or ease tensions. In a time when many rulers faltered, she recognized the profound influence of personal diplomacy, especially among queens and empresses who bore the distinct challenges of leading. In a world dominated by men, her political maneuvers wove a tapestry rich with adversaries. Procopius's secret history, a tale steeped in malice, portrayed her as cunning, vengeful, and undeniably harsh. Be it through embellishment or truth, these claims unveil the deep-seated fear and animosity she stirred within the ranks of the empire's powerful. In a realm where the unexpected often stirred the air, the presence of an empress who commanded such direct sway over the intricacies of policy and the fates of her people was a rarity. Yet, there was no denying the sharpness of Theodora's political insight. She wielded her power with a fierce hand when the moment called for it. Yet she also displayed a generous spirit when it was essential for the empire's harmony. In a time when women were often relegated to the shadows of power, Theodora emerged boldly, commanding her destiny and reigning with unwavering authority. As the mid-540s approached, the once commanding presence of Theodora at court began to diminish, not due to scandal or political missteps, but rather the shadow of illness that loomed over her. Accounts vary regarding the essence of her ailment. Some whisper of cancer, while others speak of a lingering infection. Whatever the reason, it slowly sapped her strength, yet she remained steadfast, unwilling to completely step back from the matters of the state. Despite her declining health, she remained a guiding force for Justinian, engaging with envoys, issuing directives, and fervently advocating for the fulfillment of her legal and charitable endeavors. For Justinian, her decline struck a chord that resonated deeply, intertwining personal loss with the weight of political consequence. Their union transcended the bounds of a mere marriage. It was a common understanding. Theodora remained steadfast. By his side through tumultuous riots, fierce wars, and sweeping reforms, frequently influencing the empire's trajectory just as profoundly as he did. As her condition deteriorated, the emperor took great care to keep her in the company of the most skilled physicians and the trusted members of the court's inner circle. In the year 548, the life of Theodora came to an end at the age of 48. Her departure sent ripples through the heart of Constantinople. Even those who opposed her could not overlook the lasting impact she had etched into the fabric of the empire. In a moment heavy with sorrow, Justinian laid her to rest within the sacred walls of the Church of the Holy Apostles, the hallowed mausoleum that cradled the remains of countless emperors and empresses before her. Her final resting place was adorned with the dignity and splendor that one would expect for a sovereign of her stature. Her passing did not diminish the marks she left behind. The reforms she championed protections for women, anti-trafficking laws, and property rights echoed through the ages, leaving an indelible mark on Byzantine society long after her reign had ended. She transformed not just the policies, but also the very essence of what it meant to be an empress. Her essence was captured in the strokes of art and the grandeur of architecture. Today, the most renowned portrayal endures in the shimmering mosaics of the Basilica of San Vitale in Ravenna, Italy. There she stands beside Justinian, draped in regal purple, adorned with a crown and a radiant halo, not behind him, but proudly at his side. It is a striking portrayal of a woman who boldly stepped into the spotlight, refusing to fade into the shadows. Theodora's life unfolds as a tapestry of contrasts, weaving together the gritty dust of the hippodrome and the resplendent marble halls of the great palace, juxtaposing the stigma of the stage with the veneration of sainthood in certain Christian traditions. She possessed a fierce drive, keen insight, a heart full of empathy, and on occasion, an unyielding resolve. She was a figure of enduring memory, a woman who carved the fate of the Byzantine Empire and etched her name among the most extraordinary leaders in history. In the early medieval centuries, noble gatherings unfolded with a vibrant flair bursting with life and energy. Feasts unfolded as vibrant gatherings, with long tables sagging beneath the bounty of roasted meats, spiced wine cascading in abundance, and the atmosphere alive with the melodies of minstrels, peals of laughter, and the sporadic clash of tipsy debates. The dance unfolded in a lively manner, bursting forth with a raw and unpolished energy as the music filled the air. Guests would spring to their feet, drawn by the rhythm, creating spontaneous circles or pairs, their feet pounding in bodies, swaying to the enchanting melodies played by the musicians. With a spirit fueled by passion rather than grace, the tides of change began to sweep through the late Middle Ages. In the grand halls of Europe, transformation was unfolding, as the ideals of chivalry took root and the aristocracy began to embrace a new standard of elegance and decorum. The essence of nobility transcended mere wealth or the might of arms. It was revealed through refined manners, elegant movements, and the skill to engage in the intricate ceremonies of court life. Once a simple pastime, dancing transformed into a grand display of lineage and societal status. In this unfolding tale, we witness the emergence of centralized courts where kings, dukes, and princes summoned their loyal vassals to gather beneath one grand roof. This was not merely a matter of governance. It was a stage for relentless displays of splendor and spectacle. In these grand courts, one had to navigate the intricate dance of etiquette with keen eyes, for every encounter, be it at the lavish table, amidst the thrill of the hunt, or swirling on the dance floor, served as a stage to showcase one's standing. The dance floor, in its essence, transformed into a vivid reflection of court society. To dance beautifully was to embody discipline, grace, and a deep comprehension of the delicate art of gesture and motion. Each bow, turn, and hand placement was intentional, imbued with rich layers of significance. A carefully crafted move might convey assurance, respect, playful intrigue, or perhaps even a strategic partnership. The musicians in their artistry embraced this newfound elegance. In place of the boisterous melodies of bygone eras, they crafted carefully structured rhythmic compositions intended for particular dances. From this emerged the concept of the dance master, a skilled individual dedicated to instructing nobles in the most current dance moves, ensuring they would maintain their dignity in the presence of royalty. In the 14th and 15th centuries, the art of dance transformed, evolving from a spontaneous expression of energy into a more structured form. It had transformed into a craft, as structured and governed as the emblems that embellished the shields of the aristocracy. Courtly dance unfolded like a tapestry of elegance, a silent dialogue where each participant moved with purpose, embodying their role in a harmonious display of grace. For those who aspired to ascend the complex rungs of courtly favor, mastery was an absolute necessity. In the grand halls of late medieval Europe, where elegance reigned supreme, one dance stood out as a true emblem of transformation: the bass dance, known as the low dance. Emerging from the regal courts of Burgundy in the 15th century, it stood in stark contrast to the lively leaping, stomping, and spinning that characterized earlier medieval festivities. The bass dance unfolded with a slow, deliberate elegance, gliding through the space like a story told with grace rather than force. The term low in its name did not signify a position in society, but rather the way the body moved. The feet hovered just above the earth, knees gently bent, crafting a graceful, ethereal quality that seemed to defy gravity. partners would glide forward and back in a graceful rhythm, their torsos maintained in an elegant, upright posture. The aim was to create an illusion of gliding effortlessly over the floor, always composed, always graceful. In a time when Grace's body was a mark of noble lineage, this manner of movement conveyed a profound message. The rhythm for the bass. Dance flowed with perfect balance. It unfolded in a gentle rhythm, either in duple or triple time. It's frequently brought to life by groups of choirs, sackbuts, lutes, or harps. A tenor line, unwavering and constant, laid down the rhythmic groundwork. As other instruments danced above, crafting intricate melodies that sparkled like stars in the night sky, this framework enabled dancers to glide in flawless synchrony, their movements meticulously planned and practiced to achieve an exquisite harmony. The bass dance wove itself intricately into the fabric of courtly romance. The leisurely rhythm and structured nuances fostered moments for lingering gazes, delicate movements, and courteous exchanges. Within the strict confines of courtly decorum, there existed a rare opportunity for a nobleman and lady to engage in a carefully measured closeness, free from the shadows of scandal. The movements echoed the eloquence of noble affection, advancing and withdrawing, swirling in a dance reminiscent of a timeless courtship ritual. To truly excel in the bass dance, one needed to delve deeper than just recalling the movements. It called for mastery, poise, and a keen sense of timing. A single misstep could unravel the entire performance, casting the dancer into a moment of embarrassment before the watchful eyes of the court. Thus, esteemed families sought the expertise of dance masters to instruct their children, guaranteeing they would shine brilliantly when called to the dance floor. As the 15th century drew to a close, the bass dance emerged as a defining feature of elegant assemblies throughout France, Burgundy, and Italy. It transcended the mere act of dancing. It was a proclamation of one's place in the grand tapestry of medieval society, an implicit assertion that one was woven into the finest threads of its elite circles. As the 15th century gracefully transitioned into the early 16th, the pavan rose to prominence, embodying the essence of courtly elegance. Should the bass dance embody elegance, the pavan exuded a royal splendor. Born in the heart of Italy, its name likely traces back to Padovana, signifying a connection to Padua. From there, it gracefully made its way to the grand courts of France, Spain, and England, weaving its tale across borders. The pavan transcended the realm of mere dance. It unfolded like a grand narrative, a vibrant tapestry woven with silk, jewels, and heraldry, all dancing to the rhythm of enchanting melodies. At the grand openings of events, weddings, coronations, and diplomatic receptions, nobility took center stage, showcasing their wealth and status in a setting where all eyes were captivated by their presence. The dancers glided gracefully, their movements deliberate and dignified, often forming elegant lines or pairs, advancing and retreating with a rhythm that spoke of careful artistry. Much like the bass dance, the pavan called for an upright stance, yet it was the grandeur that took center stage. Each step taken, time seemed to stretch, allowing every moment to be relished. Every turn revealed the graceful cascade of a brocaded sleeve or the shimmering allure of a jeweled chain. The melody of the pavan unfolded with a richness and depth frequently crafted in a graceful duple time. With lutes, viols, and early keyboard instruments such as the virginals and harpsichord, a smooth and dignified soundscape emerged, weaving a rich tapestry of auditory delight. The choreography flowed seamlessly with the musical phrasing, as steps were artfully arranged in groups of 4 or 8, imbuing the dance with an air of inevitability, reminiscent of a ceremonial march rather than a fleeting expression of spontaneity. The pavan unfolded as a grand display of social order, a vivid tableau where status and rank took center stage. In the grand tapestry of the dance, the arrangement of the dancers told a tale of status and prestige. At the forefront, the regal figures and esteemed nobles took their place, while the lesser lords and ladies followed in a graceful procession, each step echoing their standing in the courtly hierarchy. Every tiny detail, from the alliances formed to the order of appearance and the opulence of attire, served as deliberate indicators of power and preference. The pavan wove a tapestry of romance in its melody. While it carried a more formal air than the bass dance, it still offered opportunities for gentle exchanges between partners. A hand lingered just a moment longer, a glance shared in flawless harmony with the melody. In the intricate dance of courtly love, these subtle gestures could convey profound meanings. At the pinnacle of its allure, the pavan wove itself into the very fabric of noble existence. It unfolded like a grand spectacle, each moment crafted with care, mesmerizing and radiant. With each step and twist, it revealed that the late medieval court was not just a realm of politics, but a grand stage where power was both showcased and exercised. In the late medieval court, dancing transcended mere music and movement. It became a delicate dance of power, played out in silk slippers. The dance floor transformed into a meticulously crafted stage, where bonds could be formed, conflicts navigated, and feelings expressed, all without uttering a single word. Invitations to dance carried a weight of significance. For a nobleman, extending an invitation to a certain lady might be a gesture of romance, or perhaps a strategic maneuver to forge a connection with her family's power. For a lady, the choice to accept or decline was a dance of strategy. A refusal may whisper tales of disapproval, hint at disinterest, or suggest a dance of political distancing. A warm embrace of acceptance, in contrast, might ease frayed nerves or forge a lasting bond. In a realm where the facade held as much weight as the heart's true desires, selecting a companion became a declaration for all to witness. The positioning of the dancers beautifully illustrated the nuances of hierarchy. The most esteemed nobles claimed the most prominent positions on the floor, frequently taking the lead in the evening's first set. In the grand hall, the lesser courtiers lingered, each one yearning for a moment in the spotlight, a chance to catch the eye of those in power. Being summoned to a distinguished role was a sign of great esteem. To be cast aside was a subtle sting to the spirit. The dance masters possessed a profound understanding of this intricate dynamic, often stepping in as quiet orchestrators of political movements through their art. They may artfully arrange certain individuals to spark engaging dialogue, while skillfully distancing others to prevent any potential uproar. As the evening unfolds, the choreography of dances can be artfully arranged to create moments of interaction among notable figures, sparking curiosity within the court while carefully avoiding the flames of gossip. Alternatively, should the host desire, these encounters can be orchestrated to ignite whispers and intrigue among the attendees. For the youthful aristocrats, dancing served as a practice ground for the intricate art of future diplomacy. The delicate interplay of respect and assurance displayed on the floor echoed the artistry essential at the negotiating table. One had to listen to the music, read the room, anticipate a partner's moves, and respond with grace. Stumbles, whether in action or thought, may echo in the mind long after the performance has faded, and then emerge the eloquence of movement. A bow that dips lower than the norm, a gentle clasp of fingers as the dance shifts, a smile that appears like a surprise gift in the midst of the rhythm. These might be tokens of affection, or perhaps whispers of intent. In the grand arena of the court, where love and ambition wove a delicate tapestry, the dance floor emerged as a stage for both elegance and intrigue. In this realm, each gesture held significance. Every companion could be a friend or foe, and each night's display unfolded like a new installment in the unspoken negotiations of the noble class. Amidst the grace of the late medieval dance floor, there existed a figure frequently shrouded in shadows, the dance master. These individuals transcended the role of simple instructors. They were guardians of decorum, orchestrators of grandeur, and, in numerous respects, the unspoken designers of courtly intrigue. Without them, the noble art of dancing would have been little more than a tangle of missteps. Masters of dance journeyed from one royal court to another, sharing their skills with monarchs keen to keep up with the most current trends in graceful motion. They possessed a remarkable mastery, not just in the intricate steps, but also in the harmonious melodies, graceful posture, and elegant deportment. Their teachings transcended the mere instruction of a pavan or bossa dance. They shaped their students into vibrant representations of elegance, making certain that each bow, turn, and gesture echoed the nobility of their status. The training was intense, with students dedicating countless hours to hone their timing, foot placement, and the intricate dance between disciplined control and vibrant expression. In a world where grace and dignity reigned supreme, a noble who faltered or lost their composure upon the floor faced not merely the sting of personal shame, but the potential tarnishing of their family's esteemed name. The dance master's mission was to shield against such indignities at every turn. Numerous dance masters wove together new sequences, fusing time-honored patterns with inventive twists that ensured court entertainment remained vibrant and engaging. They frequently joined forces with musicians, weaving together choreography and music in a harmonious dance of creativity. Through their efforts, dance transformed from a mere hobby into a captivating performance art, capable of leaving visiting dignitaries in awe or commemorating special occasions with unforgettable displays. Their impact reached deep into the realm of courtly strategy. Skilled dance master could artfully orchestrate pairings among nobles, gently foster reconciliations, or craft scenarios where alliances could flourish. In their unique position, they navigated the intricate tapestry of the court, forging bonds with both the esteemed and the humble, becoming trusted bridges between realms. Moving with a rare grace and freedom, for ambitious courtiers, winning the favor of the dance master held nearly as much significance as captivating the monarch themselves. A mentor who champions a student's grace can unlock pathways to opportunities and alliances that might remain elusive otherwise. On the flip side, a master's subtle disapproval might lead to being passed over in the grandest dances of the night. As the late Middle Ages unfolded, the presence of the dance master emerged as a vital force in society. It transcended the role of mere instructors. They were the artisans of elegance, the keepers of heritage, and the unseen orchestrators of the dazzling spectacle that unfolded within the medieval court. Imagine the choreography as the very bones of courtly dance, while the costumes and music serve as its vibrant flesh and lifeblood, transforming mere movement into a captivating spectacle in the late medieval courts. The allure of visual and auditory magnificence was well recognized, for no grand dance could truly flourish without their enchanting presence. For the nobility, every garment was a carefully woven tale, never selected without purpose. Women's gowns were crafted from luxurious silks, rich velvets, and ornate brocades, often layered to evoke a sense of grandeur with every graceful turn. Trains glided over the gleaming floors, while sleeves, at times so elongated they kissed the ground, danced like banners in harmony with the cadence of footsteps. Men donned doublets and hose crafted from sumptuous fabrics, frequently accompanied by cloaks or short mantles that billowed gracefully with every step. The jewels shimmered in the candlelight, transforming the dancers into a celestial tapestry of swirling constellations. Color, as well, spoke in its own dialect. Rich hues of deep red, majestic royal blue, and intricate gold embroidery whispered tales of wealth and status. While the heraldic patterns boldly announce the bonds of family alliances, a masterful dancer weaves the swish of a gown and the fall of a sleeve into a tapestry of grace, where costume and choreography become one harmonious expression. Music played an essential role. In the grand halls, court musicians wove melodies with lutes, harps, viols, shawms, and sackbits, crafting a harmonious sound that danced through the air, enhancing the atmosphere without drowning out the whispers of conversation. In the grand halls where stately dances like the pavan or bass dance unfolded, the compositions flowed slowly and with intention, inviting each movement to be executed with precision and grace. As the night deepened, the tempo quickened with lively dances such as the galliard, beckoning forth a spirited display of nimble footwork and vibrant energy. The melodies were frequently crafted to suit the unique moments they accompanied. In a dance of creativity, composers and dance masters wove their talents together, crafting a tapestry where each step turn, bow, and glide resonated in flawless sync with the enchanting melody. The impact was mesmerizing. A grand hall teemed with dancers, their movements synchronized as if they were components of a magnificent, elegant machine. The ambiance enhancing the splendor of the scene. In grand halls adorned with shimmering candlelight, the air was alive with the spirit of celebration. The glow danced upon gold-leafed walls and polished floors, while tapestries, rich with tales of myth and chivalry, hung above, echoing the timeless ideals of love, honor, and beauty that filled the atmosphere of the dances in this setting. The dance transcended mere entertainment. It was a grand performance. Each costume, each note, and each step wove together a meticulously crafted performance, aimed to captivate, allure, and reinforce the fabric of society. In the grand tapestry of the late medieval court, beauty reigned supreme, and the art of dance emerged as one of its most captivating expressions. In the twilight of the medieval court, the dance floor emerged as a realm where romance intertwined with the art of display. Underneath the refined manners and graceful movements, there existed a delicate dance of allure, where individuals could convey their desires, share fleeting looks, and explore their chemistry, all while being observed by the discerning gaze of the court. The refined art of courtly love, a chivalric ideal that molded the essence of noble culture, discovered its most enchanting expression within the graceful confines of dance. Partners danced in a rhythm that echoed the delicate dance of romance, drawing near, pulling back, and weaving around one another with intentional grace. Every gesture carried a unique significance. A bow might whisper of reverence, turn could beckon with allure, and a lingering touch of the hand might hold the unspoken promise of deeper connections. For the young nobles, the dance served as their inaugural approved moment of physical connection with a prospective suitor. It presented a unique opportunity to engage in a private dialogue, all while surrounded by the vibrant energy of the public space. Whispers danced in the air, cloaked by the melody's embrace, as glances intertwined in a manner that convention would typically deem improper. Yet the art of courtship through dance was equally a demonstration of finesse. A partner who glided with assurance and grace embodied self-discipline and elegance, qualities equally sought after in a beloved as they were in a nobleman. A misstep, or an awkward pause in stark contrast, can leave a mark on an impression just as effectively as a poorly chosen word in dialogue. The choice of partners was, in itself, a calculated maneuver. To receive an invitation to dance from a high-ranking noble was to grasp the threads of social elevation, while securing a dance with a beloved lady or gentleman could ignite whispers that fluttered far beyond the grand hall. These pairings were keenly watched, and more than one marriage alliance took root with a dance upon the floor. Movement offered a secure space for playful exchanges of affection. In a time when openly expressing love could lead to peril, whether in the realm of politics or society, the subtle movements and measured closeness of dance provided a secret garden for romance to flourish. The game hung delicately in the balance, revealing just enough to captivate the imagination, yet never crossing the line into the realm of scandal. Thus, the courtly dance transformed into a practice for romance and, on occasion, the opening chapter of a tale of matrimony. In this enchanting setting, where candlelight flickered and melodies danced through the air, countless noble romances took their first breath, not through spoken words, but through the graceful movements of their feet. In the grand tapestry of European courtly dance, a delicate interplay of elegance, order, and symbolism wove through its essence. Yet, as one journeyed from region to region, the dance transformed, each locale infusing its own traditions, melodies, and even the whispers of politics into the rhythm of movement. In the late Middle Ages, a vibrant tapestry of travel unfolded. Among the nobility, driven by the pursuits of diplomacy, the forging of marriage alliances, and the thrill of tournaments, and with this movement emerged a vibrant tapestry of dance styles intertwining and evolving together. In the enchanting land of Italy, the courts of Florence, Milan, and Ferrara embraced elaborate choreographies and lively tempos, setting themselves apart from their northern brethren. In the vibrant world of Italian dance, figures like Domenico da Piacenza emerged, weaving together the intricate steps into a tapestry of manuals, forever changing the landscape of dance into a revered art form. The dances unfolded with intricate floor patterns, weaving together moments of slow grace and lively bursts, a true testament to the Italian spirit of theatrical expression. In the heart of France, the Burgundian court emerged as a beacon of culture, where its bass dance set the benchmark for elegance across much of Europe. In the realm of elegance, the French approach celebrated a fluidity that transcended mere intricacy, showcasing elongated, flowing gestures and a noble rhythm that captivated the senses. The melodies flowed with a dignified grace, harmonizing beautifully with the resplendent parades that heralded the commencement of royal gatherings. England wove together the rich threads of French and Italian influences, seamlessly intertwining them with its own vibrant folk traditions. As the nobility graced the floor with their elegant bass dances and pavanas, the atmosphere shifted in the less formal spaces where lively country dances took center stage. Here, courtiers shed their formal airs, revealing a more spirited and playful essence after the evening solemnities. In the heart of the Iberian Peninsula, a rich tapestry unfolds, woven from the threads of centuries of cultural exchange among Christian, Muslim, and Jewish communities, each contributing their unique essence to the vibrant narrative of the land. In those grand court dances, one could witness the lively interplay of rhythmic footwork and graceful hand movements, echoing the rich Moorish traditions, all harmonized with the enchanting melodies of early Spanish stringed instruments. Regional distinctions wove together, refusing to stay isolated. In the grand tapestry of royal unions, foreign dance masters wove their artistry into the very fabric of new courts, bringing with them the rhythm of their steps and the melodies of their musical traditions. In the grand tapestry of diplomatic visits, performances unfolded like vibrant threads, designed to dazzle guests with the court's elegance. This spectacle inspired nobles to embrace and transform dances from distant lands. Gatherings and celebrations served as vibrant arenas for the sharing of ideas and cultures. In a time of chivalry, knights and ladies journeyed far and wide, drawn by the thrill of competition and the allure of spectacle. Upon their return, they brought with them not just tales of valor, but also vibrant new dances, which they would share with their own courts. These dances, however, were not mere replicas. They were transformed, lovingly adapted to resonate with the unique tastes and melodies of their homeland. As the Renaissance broke upon the world, a vibrant tapestry of cultural exchange wove itself into a common European language of courtly dance. This enchanting form of expression enabled nobles from diverse kingdoms to glide across the floor in harmony, all the while preserving the unique essence of their own lands. As the 15th century drew to a close, the elegant courtly dance tradition of the late Middle Ages set the stage for the vibrant and dazzling dance culture that would flourish during the Renaissance. What started as a means to introduce structure, an elegance to post-feast revelry, transformed into a richly defined craft, intertwining melody, style, decorum, and social acumen into a dazzling spectacle. Their impact was evident not just in the actions taken, but in the principles they upheld. The elegant courtly dance embodied the essence of discipline, control, and harmonious movement, reflecting the noble ideals of a well-governed court. Each graceful glide, elegant bow, precise turn revealed the intricate hierarchy and refined decorum that formed the foundation of noble society. Even centuries later, these ideals would persist in influencing the very essence of dance within the grand courts of Europe. The bass dance and pavan, hallmark dances of their time, did not slip into the shadows of history. Instead, they transformed into Renaissance variations, preserving their dignified grace while embracing more intricate movements. In a similar vein, the Galliard Allemande and other cherished melodies of the Renaissance drew their essence from the harmonious union of music and movement that was refined in the courts of the late medieval period. Beyond mere technique, the late medieval courtly dance wove a rich tapestry of movement that served as a powerful tool of diplomacy. The dance floor emerged as a vibrant arena, a canvas where alliances were subtly painted, negotiations took on a gentler hue, and the art of courtship unfolded before all eyes. In the grand tapestry of history, the monarchs of the Renaissance and Baroque periods wove a rich tradition, hosting opulent balls that served not only as jubilant celebrations, but also as intricate political performances. The tradition played a pivotal role in establishing the dance master's profession, whose impact would continue to expand in the centuries to come. Through the careful guidance of countless nobles, these instructors wove a tapestry of elegance and precision in courtly dance, ensuring that its principles were not only preserved, but also transformed to meet the evolving tastes of each new generation. Even in contemporary historical reenactments and heritage festivals, the spirit of the late medieval courtly dance lingers on. The gentle unfolding of the pavan, the smooth movements of the bass dance, the whisper of sumptuous gowns, sweeping over gleaming floors. These images conjure a realm where motion spoke volumes and where elegance and rigor danced in harmony. Ultimately, the essence of late medieval courtly dance transcends mere choreography. In the right setting, movement weaves together the threads of culture, politics, and romance, a timeless lesson that the courts of Europe have always cherished. Yet, in the stillness, a whisper of sound began to emerge, soft and elusive at first. A rhythmic, almost hypnotic thump-thump. The sound of countless oars striking the water in perfect harmony. The sound intensified, becoming a relentless force, more ominous, with every heartbeat that echoed through the air. From the shrouded haze, figures materialized, elongated forms gliding seamlessly through the flowing waters. Their carved prows loomed like monstrous figures, dragons and serpents with snarling mouths. Their painted eyes glaring fiercely at the shore. The gold and crimson shields adorning their sides captured the scant sunlight that managed to break through the fog, gleaming like urgent signals. These were not mere merchant vessels. They were formidable warships, and at their forefront loomed the flagship, a towering presence above the rest. Upon its deck stood a man whose name would echo through the ages, Ragnar Lothbrok. Adorned in luxurious furs with mail shimmering at his shoulders, and a face etched by the trials of life. He embodied the very essence of the tales spun in coastal hamlets, a figure of awe and reverence. His men, battle-hardened marauders from the lands of Denmark and Norway, surveyed the riverbanks with the keen gaze of a hunter waiting for the perfect moment to strike. The sheer magnitude of the fleet was astonishing. It is said that a grand fleet of approximately 120 ships set sail, each vessel brimming with fierce warriors wielding axes, spears, and round shields. If true, it signified that close to 5,000 men were advancing toward Paris, the crown jewel of the Frankish realm. They glided through the water as one, their oars dipping in flawless harmony, the drum beats resonating across the surface like the pulse of a great creature lurking beneath. The villagers by the Seine stood frozen, their hearts gripped by fear as the ships glided ominously by. Some ventured inland, grasping tightly to the scant possessions they could bear. Some fell to their knees, fervently seeking solace in prayer. They were well versed in the tales. In the shadow of the Viking longships, towns lay in ruin there. Buildings engulfed in flames, livestock met a grim fate. The cries of the captured echoed through the night as they were taken away in chains. Fear gripped the hearts of all, as the shadow of fate loomed large over them, and no one dared to step forward, hoping to escape the clutches of the next unfortunate tale. Ah, Paris, city adorned with its majestic churches, bustling markets, and monasteries brimming with treasures, nestled further upriver, as if cradled by its sturdy, fortified walls. Yet for the men aboard those vessels, walls were not obstacles. They were invitations to adventure. And the Seine, meandering further into the core of Frankish might, beckoned with an allure that was impossible to resist. Ragnar's gaze was fixed upon the flowing river that lay before him. The siege had yet to commence, yet in his imagination, Paris was already claimed as his own. As Ragnar's fleet advanced along the river, the Frankish defenders hurriedly sought to respond. Whispers of the longships spread like wildfire. borne on the trembling lips of frightened villagers and monks, hastily retreating from the banks of the lower Seine as the first war drums reverberated through the air near the outskirts of Paris. The scouts of King Charles the Bald had already delivered the somber news. This was a raid of considerable magnitude. What unfolded was nothing short of an invasion. In the grand court nestled within the kingdom's heart, Charles found himself entangled in a perplexing dilemma. His forces were spread thin across the lands. He claimed, and the swiftest assembly he could rally was a humble band of fighters and hired swords. Yet, he commanded them to advance and confront the Vikings before they could breach the city walls. In a land where legends are born, the chosen battleground lay by the riverbank, a place where the waters whispered secrets and a narrow passage compelled the mighty ships to slow their advance. Yet Ragnar was well acquainted with traps. He understood that the Franks would attempt to halt his progress, and he embraced the challenge. As his vessels neared the shallow waters, he commanded a few to deliberately ground themselves. From them surged a multitude of warriors, their shields weaving together to form an unyielding barrier of wood and iron. From beyond that wall emerged the axemen, their blades shimmering in the light as they surged forward. The initial confrontation was fierce. Clad in shimmering mail and wielding their long spears, the Franks stood resolute, striving to maintain their line against the tide of battle. Yet, the Vikings battled with an intensity that left their adversaries in awe. Their battle cries, deep and guttural, reverberated across the river, designed to instill fear as much as to claim lives. The Frankish shields shattered beneath the unyielding strikes of Danish axes, and the orderly line started to waver. Ragnar plunged into the fray, his very essence shifting the balance with each blow he delivered. Legend has it that he wielded his sword as if it were a natural part of him, effortlessly cleaving through anyone who dared to stand in his way. The ranks of the Frankish army shattered, and chaos erupted, sweeping through the battlefield with relentless fury. Those who were able to escape journeyed toward Paris, yearning for the protection of the city's embrace. For a fleeting moment, the Vikings pursued their quarry. Ragnar was resolute in his decision to hold his forces close, refusing to disperse them prematurely. The river held the secret, and his fleet had many miles to traverse before reaching the ultimate treasure. As darkness fell, the Franks' front line had vanished into the shadows. The path stretched forth, and the Seine flowed freely. Ragnar's fleet gathered once more, their shields marked with the evidence of battle, and their spirits soaring to new heights. The initial blow had been catastrophic, and now Paris lay within their reach. Though the Franks had lost their forward guard, the city of Paris remained steadfast, its fortified walls towering over the Isle de la Cite, the very heart of the city, where the majestic cathedral of Saint Etienne cast its shadow in the grand tapestry of history. The river emerged as Paris's most formidable guardian. As the Seine gracefully divided into two slender channels encircling the island, wooden bridges and fortified gates stood ready, guardians of the waters that flowed beneath them. Yet, as the blossoms of spring, 845 unfurled, those fortifications would face trials unlike any seen before, with the air of conquerors. Ragnar's fleet drew near to the shores of Paris. The Vikings were well aware that the Franks would attempt to obstruct their path with chains stretched across the water and guard towers looming over the bridges. Ragnar's response was straightforward: seize the river, cut off their resources, and compel the city to surrender, commanded his vessels. Two more in each channel, their bows turned upstream, ready to confront any impending assault. Brave raiding parties ventured ashore, setting ablaze the distant farms, severing the roads, and obliterating the ferry crossings. The message was clear and resonant. Every soul that ventured into or out of Paris found themselves in the grasp of the Vikings. The vibrant river, once alive with the hustle and bustle of trade, fell silent in an instant, now haunted by the dark outlines of longships and the vigilant gazes of Norse warriors poised with their spears. Within the heart of Paris, the air thickened with an unmistakable tension. Merchants trembled at the thought of their precious goods decaying before they could grace the market. The unfortunate feared the gnawing emptiness of their bellies. Amidst the ancient city walls, priests wove through the streets, their voices rising in harmonious prayers, seeking the favor of the divine. The villagers understood that should the Vikings decide to bide their time, hunger and illness would inevitably take their toll. Yet Ragnar was a man who knew little of patience. The blockade marked the beginning of a much larger tale. With his loyal men diligently fortifying the riverbanks, he dispatched small groups to seek out any vulnerabilities in the city's defenses. They came back bearing precious tidings. Vulnerable stretches of the outer suburbs lay unguarded. The principal forces of the Franks had withdrawn behind the protective walls of the island, leaving their warehouses, granaries, and homes exposed to the looming threat. In just a matter of days, a plume of smoke began to dance upon the horizon. Ragnar's warriors surged through the unprotected lands, claiming provisions, treasures, and prisoners. These raids served two distinct aims: to nourish the army and instill fear in the hearts of the people. With each passing day that the Vikings maintained their grip on the river, the strength of Paris waned as the sun set on the seventh day. The blockade stood firm and unyielding. The Seine had ceased to be the very heartbeat of Paris. There stood a formidable prison wall, and in the hands of Ragnar Lothbrok rested the keys to its fate. For those dwelling outside the protective embrace of Paris's walls, the siege was far more than a mere whisper in the wind. It was a haunting reality unfolding in their very fields and homes. Ragnar's men, fueled by their swift triumphs, spread across the Seine with the cunning grace of wolves prowling through a flock of sheep. No village was too small, no farm too remote to elude their grasp. By day, wisps of smoke signaled the places where the Vikings had made their mark. Flames danced upon the barns and storehouses, casting a shower of sparks that twinkled like stars in the night sky. The flames consumed the provisions intended to nourish the Frankish people throughout the year, guaranteeing that even if Paris held firm against the siege, the specter of hunger would still linger over the land as darkness fell. The flickering flames of ravaged villages danced upon the water's surface, teased, transforming the river into a glistening trail of embers. The raiders moved with a chilling precision, their actions steeped in a calculated ruthlessness. They seized grain, livestock, and treasures, either loading them onto their longships or ruthlessly slaughtering what they could not transport yet. What struck the heart most profoundly was the seizing of individuals. Men fell swiftly, their lives extinguished in an instant, while women and children were gathered like cattle, tied and driven toward the waiting ships. To the Vikings, these captives held a worth akin to gold, destined to be traded as slaves. In distant northern markets, the weight on the mind was profound. As refugees surged toward Paris, their narratives ignited a rising tide of anxiety within the city. Whispers filled the air about fierce warriors, their faces adorned in shades of blue and black, hair untamed, and eyes ablaze with a frenzied fury that rendered them more akin to vengeful spirits than mere mortals. Some claimed they had glimpsed Ragnar himself, chuckling amidst the chaos as if the very act of ruin were a game to him. The Frankish garrisons perched upon the walls of Paris, their eyes fixed on the unfolding scene, powerless to intervene. Each endeavor to dispatch a rescue party met with calamity in the shadow of the mighty river. The Vikings held dominion over the crossings, and any brave soul who dared to stray too far from the gates faced the grim fate of being severed from their kin and met with destruction. Ragnar grasped that fear-wielded power just as effectively as the sharp edge of his axe. Every raid echoed the truth that beyond the walls, safety was but a distant dream. The residents of Paris could hear the anguished cries of the flames from the comfort of their own abodes. The message resonated with unmistakable clarity. Yield or witness the realm beyond your walls crumble to dust as the second week unfolded. The siege of Paris transformed from mere skirmishes into a relentless grip of control. Ragnar Lothbrok had transcended the role of mere disruptor. He was now the harbinger of famine within the city. Every bridge, crossing, and supply route lay securely in the hands of the Norse. A testament to their dominance, the Seine, once the lifeblood of Paris, now lay ensnared, a cold iron collar clasped by the Vikings around its neck. From his vantage point by the river, Ragnar beheld the full expanse of the city's defenses. The Isle de la Cite stood proud, its watchtowers reaching for the sky, while its bridges were fortified with sturdy wooden gates. Bolstered by iron for added strength, the Frankish garrison stood watch. Unwavering through the long hours, yet Ragnar could see the telltale signs of weariness creeping in, torches flickering dimly, guards leaning heavily against their posts, and the dwindling number of patrols as night fell. In the realm of siege warfare, where time stretched like a taut bowstring, patience intertwined with strength, and Ragnar's men possessed a wealth of patience, especially when the allure of treasure beckoned them forth. In the heart of Paris, provisions dwindled at an alarming pace. Once, the merchants reveled in the bustling river trade, their warehouses brimming with goods. Now they stood in despair, gazing at the hollow spaces where abundance once thrived. With no glimmer of resupply in sight, in a world divided, the affluent clutched their treasures tightly, while the less fortunate stood in endless lines at the monasteries, their hopes rising with each whispered prayer for sustenance. Whispers spread like wildfire, tales of families foraging for sustenance in the most desperate of ways. Dogs, pigeons, and even leather transformed into a thin, unyielding broth. Within the city's heart, the atmosphere transformed from a bold stand to a deep yearning for hope. You don't know, Regna took great care to intensify that sense of desperation. He commanded his warriors to march under the glow of torches along the riverbanks, their shields clashing and voices raised in Old Norse insults, the raucous sounds echoing over the water, disturbing the slumber of the exhausted Parisians. In the shadowy twilight, the Vikings would unleash their fiery arrows into the unsuspecting lands, not solely to wreak havoc, but to instill a deep-seated fear, a haunting reminder that the specter of their presence loomed ever close. Within the ranks of the Frankish command, tensions simmered and emotions ran high. In a time of great turmoil, King Charles the Bald found himself under the weighty gaze of his nobles, each one a figure of power and influence, pressing upon him with their demands and expectations. Some voices called for a bold strike to shatter the blockade, while others passionately argued for patience, waiting for reinforcements to arrive. Yet, with each dawn, the burden grew heavier as more souls joined the ranks, and the dwindling resources became a haunting reminder of the struggle ahead. Ragnar sensed the city's tipping point was drawing near. With an impenetrable blockade in place, his troops thrived on the bounty of the land, while his ships formed a protective crescent, guarding against any unseen attempts at relief. Paris may have been fortified, yet Ragnar Lothbrok commanded the river, and in this conflict, the river held the power to determine the champion. On a dreary, rain-soaked morning, the moment of truth arrived. From the lofty towers of Paris, vigilant, Frankish sentries beheld Ragnar's men as they dragged more supplies ashore, plundered from the fertile farms that lay upriver. It served as both a mockery and a dire need, a testament to the Vikings reveling in abundance while Paris languished in hunger. The leaders of the city reached their breaking point. A call was made for a daring venture beyond the walls, swift and powerful strike aimed at breaking through the blockade to retrieve the vital sustenance that was so urgently needed. As the gates on the right bank creaked open, a formidable column of Frankish soldiers surged forth, their presence commanding the scene. With long spears in hand, swords at the ready, and heavy kite shields raised high, they advanced, their banners dancing fiercely in the wind. At their forefront rode a select group of noble riders, their gleaming armor catching the first rays of the morning sun. They aimed to infiltrate and dismantle the Viking encampment on the northern shore, then make a swift exit before the raiders could rally their forces. Yet Ragnar had anticipated this moment. From their vantage points along the river's winding paths, his scouts witnessed the gates swing open and swiftly shared the news, their messages racing like whispers on the wind. As the Franks approached the sodden fields by the riverbank, the air was thick with anticipation, for shield walls were already taking shape. The two sides met in a thunderous clash, where iron met fury in a dramatic encounter. With unwavering discipline, the Franks advanced, their ranks moving as one cohesive force. In stark contrast, the Vikings unleashed their raw individual might, axeman crashing against shields, spearman probing for weaknesses in armor, and archers raining arrows upon the oncoming foe. The clamor was overwhelming, the clash of metal ringing out. Voices raised in Frankish and Norse, mingling with the anguished cries of the injured. For a fleeting moment, it appeared as though the Franks could pierce through the defenses. Their cavalry surged forward, disrupting parts of Ragnar's front line. Yet the Vikings were not without their own strategy, as concealed reserves erupted from the shadows of the tree line. With a ferocious swiftness, they assailed the Frankish flank, mowing down foot soldiers and sending the cavalry into a chaotic retreat. The Frankish commander called for a retreat, yet the moment had slipped away, leaving no room for escape. The narrow causeway leading back to the gates was choked with men. The Vikings seized their moment, pushing forward with relentless determination. Brave soldiers fell one by one, their hopes of reaching the sanctuary of the city walls slipping away like shadows in the dusk. As the sun reached its zenith, the gates thundered shut once again, this time with a diminished guard to stand watch over them. The valiant effort to shatter the siege had come to naught, and from his ship, Ragnar Lothbrok gazed upon the city, understanding that it now stood more vulnerable than it ever had before. The unsuccessful breakout signaled a dark twist in the tale. Paris had taken a daring risk and faced the consequences. Ragnar held the river tightly in his grasp, and now the city was not just yearning for sustenance, it was ailing. It started with a whisper. A handful of soldiers succumbed to illness, voicing their woes of fever and aching joints. Then arrived the swelling, the coughing, and the unmistakable blotches upon the skin. In just a matter of days, the illness seeped out from the barracks, weaving its way into the bustling homes and vibrant markets. Though the precise ailment has faded into the annals of time, perhaps it was dysentery from contaminated water or a plague borne by unwelcome creatures. The consequences were nothing short of catastrophic. In the tight confines of a city under siege, the atmosphere became a fertile ground for the spread of infection. In a cozy gathering, families nestled close, exchanging warmth and safety, sharing their meals, breaths, and the inevitable germs that come with togetherness. The monasteries, once serene havens, soon found themselves brimming with the ailing, their halls echoing with the whispers of despair within mere days. In the dim light, the priests whispered last rites, their faces ashen, betraying the fear that gripped their hearts. The bells rang out, a somber reminder of yet another soul lost to fate. Word of the illness spread among Ragnar's men, and though the Vikings were not immune, the camp life along the riverbanks was anything but pristine. They endured with greater ease. Their ships, they sailed the open waters, their camps scattered like stars across the land. The bounty of fresh supplies fortified their strength. The Franks, confined within their fortifications, found themselves without that particular edge. Within the heart of Paris, a wave of unease began to swell. Whispers floated through the streets, tales of a divine retribution for the city's transgressions, of treacherous souls who had tainted the wells, or of the dark curse brought upon the land by the very presence of the pagans lurking beyond the walls. The essence of reality held little weight, for it was fear that wielded the power of any blade. The psychological impact of the plague proved to be as perilous as its physical consequences. The weary garrison witnessed men slipping away from their duties, drawn by the call of sick loved ones or seeking refuge from the looming fate that awaited them. Stalls once bustling with life now stood empty, as the frenzy of food hoarding swept through the streets in a world divided. The affluent cloistered themselves in their opulent sanctuaries, while the less fortunate roamed the streets, searching for the remnants of what once was. From his flagship, Ragnar beheld the transformation unfolding before him. The city's walls remained steadfast, yet the essence of life within was decaying. Each cough that reverberated across the river felt like a whisper of fate, assuring him that time was indeed in his favor. Paris found itself in a state of decline, its defenses crumbling without a single strike against its gates. Ragnar Lothbrok, ever the cunning strategist, planned to exploit this weakness. determined to push until the city had no option but to submit. As March drew to a close, the atmosphere within Paris had become charged. Teetering on the edge of chaos in every home, hunger clawed relentlessly. The plague took its toll with each passing day. The spirits of those standing guard began to wane. The ill-fated attempt revealed that the Franks were unable to shatter Ragnar's blockade through sheer might. The sole route remaining was a journey through humiliation. It was a dance of negotiation. King Charles the Bald, despite his absence from Paris, understood that the city's downfall would spell disaster for his political ambitions. Should the crown jewel of his kingdom be plundered, the other illustrious towns of the Frankish realm could very well meet the same fate. Even more troubling, a total loss would inspire every Norse chieftain dwelling along the northern shores. With a heavy heart, he found himself conceding to the idea of engaging in discussions with the Viking leader. Envoys embarked on a journey downriver, their small vessel gracefully navigating through the ranks of anchored longships, a flag of truce fluttering in the breeze. In the quiet of the moment, the Vikings stood, their shields shimmering under the warm embrace of the spring sun. As the vessel approached Ragnar's grand flagship, the envoys were ushered aboard to encounter the figure whose name had lingered like a ghost along the Frankish shores for years. As the tale unfolds, the narratives may diverge, yet a consensus remains. Ragnar's demands echoed with unmistakable clarity, a sum so monumental it would echo through the ages. He declared the price to be 7,000 pounds of silver and gold, a staggering amount that seemed beyond comprehension for that era. It was not just a transaction, it was a powerful declaration that the Franks had been compelled to bow down. The envoys raised their voices in protest, contending that the kingdom was unable to bear such a heavy burden of payment. Darge, steadfast and unwavering, echoed the grim destiny that loomed over Paris should they choose to defy him. With a haunting narrative, he recounted the grim fate that awaited the city, flames consuming its structures, the defenders falling to merciless blades, and the cries of thousands being taken as captives echoing in the night. He gestured toward the river, where wisps of smoke curled into the sky, remnants of the villages his men had laid waste to just hours before. In a moment of reluctant acceptance, the envoys made their way back to Charles, who, after a tempest of heated discussions with his nobles, finally consented to the payment. It struck the royal treasury with great force, yet the loss of Paris would have been far more devastating. Word spread like wildfire to collect every coin, chalice, and ornament that could be transformed into shimmering silver and gold. As the final decision made its way back to Ragnar, the Viking warlord's lips curled into a knowing smile. Doubt. Breaching a single fortress, he had twisted one of Europe's most formidable realms to his desires. Once the ransom was secured, the agreement unfolded with remarkable speed in the days that followed. Carts brimming with silver and gold made their way to the Seine, escorted by a formidable Frankish guard. With hushed voices, the priests recited their prayers, their hopes, woven into each measured load as if seeking to calm the heavens with their humble offerings. Each coin, chalice, and ornament whispered tales of the riches held within monasteries, noble estates, and the very heart of the royal treasury. As the final count soared to the 7,000 pounds that Ragnar had insisted upon, the Vikings sprang into action without hesitation. The bounty was apportioned among the crews, with each man claiming his portion based on his standing. The chieftains seized the grandest shares. Yet even the humblest oarsmen departed with treasures ample to ensure their comfort for many seasons to come. For Ragnar, it was the crowning achievement, a treasure trove of riches, but more importantly, the thrill of having secured it while preserving the strength of his warriors, avoiding the carnage of a fierce battle. As dawn broke on the day of their departure, the Viking fleet readied itself for the voyage back downriver. The long ships laden with treasures swayed softly in the flowing waters. The Franks stood vigilant upon the walls, their hearts heavy with the weight of potential treachery lurking in the shadows. Yet Ragnar remained steadfast in his promise. For the moment, Paris would remain untouched by fate's hand. The siege had fulfilled its intent. Before departing, Ragnar orchestrated one last grand spectacle. His ships glided in close-knit formation, Past the city's formidable walls, shields held high along their sides, banners fluttering triumphantly in the breeze. War horns echoed through the air, not to instill fear, but to serve as a poignant reminder. Paris had yielded to the Northmen. Some narrators assert that Ragnar even permitted captured Frankish prisoners to cry out warnings to the populace, reminding them that the Vikings would return if the kingdom dared to forget the lesson of 845 as the fleet vanished into the winding embrace of the Seine. A wave of relief cascaded over the city. The sound of bells filled the air as priests guided solemn processions of gratitude. Yet, the festivities carried a subdued air. The price paid was staggering, and the shame even more profound. Charles the Bald managed to safeguard Paris, yet he achieved this by depleting his treasury into the hands of those who followed pagan beliefs. For Ragnar Lothbrok, the voyage back would etch his tale into the annals of history. He had confronted one of Europe's mightiest kingdoms, besieged its capital, and departed with wealth greater than any Viking who came before him. The Frankish realm, a singular truth resonated. Paris had been saved not through the clash of weapons, but by the glimmer of coins.